Welcome, everybody. My thought for you today, since this is the week that Hanukkah begins, I believe later this week, Hanukkah. And so it's one of my, again, we're continuing in this tradition of the holidays that celebrate light, that celebrate inner light. And what I love about the stories of this holiday, especially, is that it's very much about the faith, right, that comes from not knowing how things are going to unfold, right? Having no idea what's going to happen next, but still being in a place that says that I'm in positivity, or that I'm holding a place for it to be good, for it to turn out well, and for me to really believe that all of those, I don't want to say it, all of those streams of goodness, right, are flowing in my direction. Because this is really what faith is about, right? It's that we can't see from moment to moment how things are going, and we don't have control over where things are going, right? But we have that understanding that there are these streams of abundance, there are these streams of goodness, these vibrations that are woven together in such a way that we end up being taken care of, right? And maybe not in the way that we imagined it to be, but again, faith is that positivity that says, I really believe that what needs to happen will happen, and I will be, again, in a good place to take part in that. So the stories, of course, of there being, lights that need to be lit and having no idea where the fuel for that is going to come from, how that's going to continue, is that this is our spiritual practice all the time, right? Is that the inner light, it's said that nobody ignited it. It's been ignited forever. But where does the fuel for it come from? The fuel for it that keeps it burning very bright in our awareness is what you feed it, right? Because it didn't need to be started by you, but it needs to be kept going by you. So that makes sense. So the faith that we have, the amount of not just positivity, not because that's not a big enough word, but the kind of love and attention that we put into the way that we live is the fuel for that light. And when we give that out into the world, we give that into our individual experiences, as it expands back into this universal connection, right? And I know that maybe didn't make as much sense as I wanted it to, but we'll go with it. So eyes closed for a moment. And the metaphor that I'm actually running with here in my own mind is that it's a quote from Zen Buddhism, or it's an image from Zen Buddhism that says that the moon is reflected in still water. And it doesn't matter how big that water is or how small, that the perfection, the beauty, the completeness of the moon and the light that it shines will be reflected in still water, even if it's only a puddle, even if it's only an inch, the completeness of the moon is reflected in that. And so in the same way, each of us are a reflection of that big universal flame. And the way it shines through you and what you feed it to keep it bright, right? This is what lights up the world. And that's what I truly feel that these stories are about, is to remind us of that inner source of radiance, and the inner source of joy, and the inner source of generosity, and the inner source of everything else that we say these holidays are about. But how do you keep it burning really bright? It's not going to come to you from just somewhere else, as you have to feed it. And you feed it not by taking things away and giving it to that flame, but you feed it by constantly giving that light out. So the more you give love away, the more it comes back. The more you generate, or the more you give to your life in a wholehearted way, the more that comes back to you, the more that is generated. The bigness of the moon becomes clear. So let that be the source of our faith for where the world is going and where we are going. We won't see it moment by moment, but if we really hold that there is that completeness that is reflecting, we keep feeding that inner light by giving love, so the world becomes brighter and brighter. Your inner world becomes brighter and brighter. And that becomes like a reflection of the moon on water, the whole world outside. You feed that inner light by giving love, by being in love. So one more breath just to imagine that image, maybe of the moon on water, maybe of a light inside that's so bright and you have no idea what's fueling it. And maybe your light is an inch wide and it's a puddle. But just recognizing that it's there is enlightenment. Breathe into that one more breath. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. You can stay seated and just start to circle your torso. Make nice big spirals. Enlightenment is like the moon reflected on the water. The moon does not get wet, nor is the water broken. Although its light is wide and great, the moon is reflected even in a puddle an inch wide. The whole moon and the entire sky are reflected in dewdrops on the grass or even in one drop of water. Enlightenment does not divide you, just as the moon does not break the water. You cannot hinder enlightenment, just as a drop of water does not hinder the moon in the sky. Whatever you think there is in your life or about you that can hinder the greatness of creation, get over yourself. Move your torso the other way. You cannot hinder it. This is so much, I think, a reversal of the way we usually take our spiritual teachings, where we think we have to unwind every problem or we have to dig deep to find the root of where everything came from karmically. No, you don't. Just recognize that whatever you think is going to stop the greatness of creation in you, it's not strong enough to do it. So give yourself over to the greatness of creation. Call that faith. Come back to stillness, please. Cat-cow your spine, still seated, moving the heart forward and back, letting the head move with the action of the heart. So as the heart lifts, your gaze lifts, surprise. And as your heart moves back, your gaze drops down. So this is that experience of I look up at the sky and I see God out there, and then I drop my chin towards my chest and I see God in there. And then I lift long through my spine and I feel the expansiveness in the outside, and then I draw back in and I feel the expansiveness inside. Even if you think that your reflection is only in a puddle an inch wide, it still holds the completeness of the moon. So how big you move your heart and how big you move your mind maybe shows you a different perspective on how big that moon is, but it's still always just the moon. So your inner light is exactly the same. That feeling of faith is always the same. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your arms up to the sky. Reach. Good. Pull up. Armpits up. Yeah. Ribs in. Yeah. And then press your seat down. Good. Get taller. One more breath. Crown of the head up. There it is. Thank you. And then release. Hands out and down. Good. Walk yourself forward over the crossed legs. Forward fold. Yeah. Just a simple forward fold with the legs crossed. Nice. And then walk yourself back up, please. Good. Stretch your right leg straight out in front of you. Bring the bottom of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. And being very nice to the people who have been in cross-country driving for a while. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Twist a little bit towards the right and then bow over the right thigh. Nice. And then let your hands touch something. So either the foot or the ankle, wherever you comfortably reach. Again, it doesn't matter where you reach, just be touching something. And then as you inhale, lift your chest a little higher, press back through your seat. And then as you exhale, round into your back ribs and into your low back. So you're pulling your belly away from your thigh. And then inhale, lengthen forward again. So it's like you're doing a really, really slow cat-cow in that forward fold. And then exhaling, curling and rounding, again, pulling up through your low belly. So you're still making space in the pelvis. Nice. We end up with this conundrum in, our imagery all the time, where if we're using this metaphor of the moon and say, well, the moon is reflecting light onto the water, or where does the light from the moon come from? We'll say, well, the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. So where does the light of the sun come from? From the sun. Right? So at some point you get to what we call the uncaused cause, right? As you can keep working backwards until there is the something that began everything. Good. Come to stillness, please. Just let yourself rest over that right thigh. Beautiful. And then walk yourself back up. Good. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears. Spinal twist, right hand to the outside of your left knee. Take your left hand back behind you. Good. Keep your right butt cheek down to the floor though. So your immediate tendency is going to be to lean towards your left. So press your right butt cheek down. Good. Round into your back rib cage a little bit more. And now navel to spine, open your left shoulder a little wider and find your twist. Throat lifts long. Good. So drop into that right butt cheek. Good. Don't lean on that back hand. So Mark, lean forward a little more. There you go. And then keep that right hand where it is. Take your left arm up to the sky and then lean over that right thigh, reaching the left arm over the ear. So it's like you're still extending over that extended leg or the straight leg. Good. Joanne, just turn your palm to face down. There you go. Awesome, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Release the twist. Stretch your left leg forward in front of you. Bend your right knee. Bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Knee goes wide. Inhale the arms up. Little twist to your left. Bow over the left leg. Good. So the uncaused cause. That same energy that began everything, that if you keep working backwards, you say, well, somewhere there's a source, somewhere there's a thing that is presence. And so that same thing, if you're working backwards, you realize that everything that you can experience, imagine, was once that, is still that, has never been separated. And so that same thingness or beingness is reflected in you, even if you think you're only an inch wide puddle. It cannot be limited. And if we know that, we understand that on some deep level, then we have less fear. We live in that faith that says whatever is here is still a reflection of that beingness. Maybe distorted, but then that's the work that we have to do. That's living. Good. Do a slow version of that cat-cow just for a breath or two, lengthening the spine on the inhale and then exhaling, pulling the ribs back, feeling more space in your lower spine. Good. And then extending forward again and exhaling, curling back. Good. One last time, inhaling forward and exhaling, rounding. And then just drop yourself into the forward fold. One more breath, however you like it to be. And then walk yourself back to upright, please. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Spinal twist. Left hand reaches for your right knee. Right hand comes back behind you. Good. So again, you're dropping into your left butt cheek here so that you're not turning your pelvis into the twist. You want to keep your pelvis really level. And then round into your back rib cage and then move your right armpit wider. Good. Lift long through the back of your throat and twist a little deeper. Good. Keep dropping into that right sit bone. Nice. Lean slightly forward towards the front edge of your pelvis. There you go. Beautiful, you guys. And then come back to, sorry, keep that hand there. Stay in the twist. Right arm floats up off the floor. And then lean to the left. So over that extended leg, reach through the right arm. Good. And imagine that you are pushing the back of your hand up into something so that you're not letting that arm fall towards your ear, but you're keeping that space by pressing up. Really good. And then come all the way back up to center. Nice. Release the hands, please. Good. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. I think I'm done being nice. Downward facing dog. No, what I say, everything I do is nice. It's for your benefit. The right leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward towards your nose, round. Bring that knee forward, 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 armpits forward, forward, forward. Good. And then lift your chest forward and up as you pull that knee forward even more. Yeah. And then take it back and up behind you, down dog split. Good. And then go ahead and step that right foot all the way between the hands. Lunge with that same attention that you're lifting it so high and then placing it so distinctly. So try that again. Take that right leg up and back, down dog split. Set it too slow for you. So I want you to place your foot very distinctly, very gently, right? Like it's a reflection of something beautiful. So bring that knee forward and then step your foot between your hands as though it's the most beautiful thing you've ever done. There you go. And then drop the back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Take the arms up for warrior two. Whoa. Jumping straight in. Good. Widen that inner knee. So you're moving the right knee a little wider to the right, pulling the right butt cheek back and in. Nice. And then bring the right forearm onto the front thigh, please. Left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Good. Pull the rib cage back and in. Yeah. Nice, you guys. The whole top of your left thigh moves back. And then open your heart higher towards the ceiling. That's it. Good. And then float yourself back to warrior two, please. Beautiful. Straighten the right thigh. Drop the left hand down your back leg. Take the right arm up to the sky. Good. Lifting that right hip point and then seeing if you can feel, right? Moving your knee, widening your knee just a little bit. So rotate it towards the baby toe. Good. Even though your legs are straight. Beautiful. And then bend the knee again, come back into warrior two, still leaning towards the back of your mat. Yep, so you're still in reverse warrior. You just bent the front knee again. Good. And then bend your right elbow, place the hand behind your heart and reach your left hand up to hold the tip of that elbow. So you're in reverse warrior, Lauren. Yeah, so left hand down the back leg. Other way, left hand down your back thigh and right arm up. There you go. And then bend the right elbow and reach your left hand up to hold that elbow. So you're actually just giving yourself an upper arm stretch. There you go. And then come all the way back up to center, arms wide. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Spin your back heel up. Good. Drop that back knee down to the floor. Nice. And both hands come inside the front foot. Do a little circling of that hip. Good. Right, so one of the other Buddhist stories that goes very sort of hand in hand with the Hanukkah stories is there's a tradition there as well where you light lamps or you light, candles for, I believe it's lamps actually, for, good wishes, basically for, your new year and what you want to see happen and all of that sort of thing. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Both hands inside the front foot, drop down to your elbows if you can, or just walk the hands a little further forward and stay on your fingertips, also fine. And so it's like anything else, right? Is that the idea that has been embraced by many people is that the fancier your lamp or the more extravagant your prayers or the more extravagant gift that you can give to the temple is that we think that that's what's going to get us the greatest return. And so this, of course, is happening. And there's a woman, a beggar woman who comes and her offering is very minuscule compared to what others are giving. And the monks are like, why are you bothering? This is barely worth paying attention to. But she's really, really excited that she was able to come up with enough to make an offering. Walk your hands back in just a little bit. Stay on your forearms if you can. Left hand reaches for your right ankle. So you're on your left forearm. Take your hand to hold your ankle, right arm to the sky. So you're in a spinal twist, but on that left forearm. So not a quad stretch, Emily. Left elbow on the floor. Hold your ankle with that hand. There you go, right arm up. Awesome. So once you're in that twist, if you would like to, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up, take it into a higher lunge, go for it, or stay where you are. Again, not a quad stretch, Emily. Lift the knee off the floor. There you go. I'll put a quad stretch in somewhere for you. Good. Release, please. The hands down to the floor, the knee down to the floor. Press back, downward facing dog. And Lauren is back. Good. Nice, you guys. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Squeezing your hands and your feet towards each other. Take your feet together. Vasisthasana. Turn onto the baby toe of your right foot. Right arm holds you, left arm up to the sky. Good. You can have that bottom knee on the floor here if you need, because I really want you to focus on rounding your left rib cage up towards the sky. So push up, push your hips up towards the sky, round your ribs up towards the sky. Push, push, push. Good. And then take that left arm over your ear. Yes. And push up. Awesome. And then slowly release back to plank pose. Inhale your breath. Lower down slow to your belly, coming through knees first if you need. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then press up to hands and knees and back to child's pose. Breathe into your lower back. Right? We have to have faith that those moments of rest are going to come. And we have to take advantage of them when they do. So the story continues that, of course, all of the lamps are lit in the traditional way. And, you know, the following morning, most of the extravagant lamps have gone out. But somehow the beggar woman's lamp continues to burn. And it continues to burn day after day after day. And no one, the monks can't understand how. They say, what the heck is going on here? What's happening? And they say there's a great, either the abbot of the temple or even the Buddha himself, it said sometimes, looks at it and says, because the faith of the one who lit this lamp is so great that it continues to burn. So this is how we feed that big light, is we keep giving ourselves back to it. We keep giving the light that shines through us to that. Can't keep it inside. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. Right? The more you hide it from the world, the more you will feel that that light is hidden from you. So what's the solution? You have to give, even if you have nothing to give. You have love, right? The uncaused cause. Left leg up and back, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward towards your nose, round into your back, armpits over your wrist, squeeze in. Good. And then while you're there, lift your chest up higher. So lift your gaze and pull that knee forward even more. Yeah. And then take it up and back behind you, down dog split. And now you're going to step that left foot between your hands like it's the most beautiful action you've ever taken, an act of love. Place your foot between your hands. Nice. And then drop your back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. Front knee pulls a little wider. That's it. Nice, Lisa S. Good. And then left forearm onto front thigh, please. Right arm comes over the ear, side angle. Draw your rib cage in and back. And then turn your armpit up towards the ceiling a little more. Good, nice, Anne. Good, you guys. It's almost like you got to tuck your tail a tiny bit here so that you're lifting the front edge of your pelvic bones, dropping your tail towards your back heel. Good, you guys. And then bring yourself back up to warrior two, please. Good, straighten your front thigh. And then drop the right hand down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back. Good. So you're lifting your left hip point up, up, up. Nice. And then you're staying in that back or side body stretch. So you're still leaning towards the back of your mat. Bend your left knee again. So you're coming into reverse warrior. Good. You're still leaning towards the back of your mat. And then bend your right elbow and place it behind your heart. Sorry, that's your left elbow. Bend your left elbow, hand behind your heart. Right hand comes up to hold the tip of the elbow. So don't reach for the hand, reach for the top of the elbow. There you go. You got it, you guys. Go ahead, let the legs stay really steady. Drop into that. Awesome. And then bring yourself all the way back up, warrior two. Nice. And then cartwheel the hands down to the floor, please. Good. Spin your back heel up. Drop that back knee to the floor, both hands inside the front foot. Make circles with that hip. Good. The simple phrase I can say to you, place your foot between your hands as though it's the most loving thing that you've ever done. And the way that you place your foot is different from how you usually do. It's crazy, right? Even if in your head you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Placing my foot is not a loving act. Everything you do can be a loving act if you're doing it with love, if you're doing it with the intention of lighting up the world. The faith, the belief that what you do does have an impact, because it does, even if you can't see it immediately. Come to stillness, please. Good. Dropping down to your forearms if that's possible, or just walking the hands further forward so you can stay on your fingertips. Good. Emily, maybe scoot your front heel back just a tiny bit so that your knee is more on top of your ankle. That might give you actually more ability to let your pelvis drop. Good. Nice, you guys. So you continuously give from that inner source of love into the world. It brightens the whole world. And it may not fix all of the problems, of course, not immediately, but it is the solution to the sorrow that follows us, right? It's the solution to the things that make it that much more difficult to see where those paths of goodness are happening in the world and connecting to them, expanding them. You can't hide your inner light and say, I've got to keep it all to myself because it's not enough. It's the bigness of the moon. It cannot be exhausted. Walk your hands back in, please. Stay on your forearms if you can. If not, up on the right hand. If you can stay on your elbows, then turn the forearm so that your right hand holds your left ankle. Take your left arm to the sky. Good. Nice. Scoop your left butt cheek under. Let your pelvis move forward more in that twist, and then fall back onto that right forearm and open the left chest even wider. Nice, Hannah. Good. And then release that. Lift your back knee up. So stay in the twist. Just lift the back knee if you'd like. A little deeper thigh stretch. Good. Laura, bring your hand towards the top of your head more. There you go. And then you can open the chest more. Good. Release the hand down to the floor. Really good, you guys. Unwind yourself. Come back to downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Feet together, thighs together, squeezing the hands and feet towards each other. So you've got this feeling of pulling the front of the body up towards the ceiling. Vasisthasana. Turn onto the baby toe of your left foot. Left arm holds you. Right arm to the sky. Good. And then pull that right rib cage up, up, up. Again, if you need that bottom knee on the floor, no problem. Place it down and then round your ribs. Pull your hips up, up, up. Good. Right arm over the ear. Extend and pull up. Like the crescent moon. Good. Yeah, see how I did that? And then suddenly you were more willing to do it? Good. Slowly come on back to plank pose. Inhale your breath. Lower down slow to your belly. Good. Rise up, cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Yeah. And then release back down. Press up to hands and knees and back to child's pose. The uncaused cause, the source of all things, is reflected in you. And when we are not in the state of worry and panic and wondering what we have to hang on to in order to survive. It reflects even bigger, wider. Lights up the world and leaves you wondering, but what's feeding it? What feeds that light is you, your love. You're gifting love to the world. Walk yourself back in, downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Left foot, actually, let's do this. So right foot steps forward between the hands. Walk your fingertips forward, step up, standing split. Good. So you're lifting through that inner thigh, flexing the foot. Nice. Molly, turn those left toes down towards the floor. It's funny, all I can see is your left foot. And so I know what it's doing and it shouldn't be doing it. Good. One more breath, please. Dropping the heart. Good. And then release that foot forward alongside the right. So standing forward fold. Bend your knees, drop back towards chair. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears. Good. And then come all the way up to stand, please. Nice. Good. Right leg holds you. Bend your left knee. Reach back, left hand for the foot or the ankle. So kick your foot back towards your butt. Left hand for the foot or the ankle. Yeah. Ooh, good save, Sarah. Right arm to the sky. Good. Pressing that foot against the hand, feel the lift at the front of your pelvis. So it's like you're pulling your pelvic bones up as you lengthen your knee down. Good. And then start to move that left knee back in space. Hinge forward, come into dancer pose. Heart stays nice and lifted. Good. Widening the thighs just like you did in standing splits. You're pulling them away from each other, forward and back. Nice. Heart forward. Beautiful. And then keep tipping forward, keep tipping forward, keep tipping forward, keep tipping forward until you can bring that right hand down to the floor or a block. I know I didn't warn you to have a block there, did I? Moment of faith, right? Good. And then release that leg, standing split. So straighten the left leg, release the other hand down to the floor. Good. Don't worry if you thought that was a disaster. And release the left foot alongside the right, standing forward fold. Nice. Shake your head, yes and no. Yes, yes, and no, no. Good. And then slowly start to roll up the spine one vertebra at a time. Good. Take the arms up alongside the ears. Right hand holds left wrist, pull to your right. And stretching through the side body, pressing down through the feet. Good. And then back up to center, please. Switch sides. Reaching to your left. Good. Harriet, don't let that left hip spin forward. Pull it back. Other way. There you go. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Bend your knees, drop your seat back to chair. Hands at heart center. Prayer twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Good. So you're twisting to your right. I know, strangely, I usually have you twist to the left first. Go figure. Good. Fall backwards, please. So move your chest back, move your ribs back away from your thigh. Yes. And then come back to center and twist the other way. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Good. Let your butt move back in space. That'll save your thighs some of the work. And then fall back at an angle. So you're pulling your heart back away from the twist. So you're not getting shorter or smaller in the twist, but you're expanding. That's it. Good. Come back to center, hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Nice job, you guys. That was a good chair pose. Good. So keep your left foot forward, please. Take your right leg up and back to standing split. Your left foot stays where it is. Take the right leg up and back. Good. Flexing the foot, reaching out through the heel. Nice. Lift that inner thigh. Good. Really lift it. Extend out. There you go. Lauren, turn that right hip down towards the floor a little more. There it is. Good, you guys. Deep breath. And then step the right foot forward alongside the left. Good. Bend the knees again. Drop into chair. Arms up alongside the ears. So again, you had the extension of the leg and now the softening of the thigh into the hip socket. Good. And now come all the way up to stand, pressing through the feet. Good. Then left leg holds you, right knee bends. Yes. Second side, dancer pose. Reaching back for the right foot, left arm to the sky. Good, and again, I want you to find the length of your pelvis. So it's like you're lifting your pelvic bones up, but then you're lengthening that knee down and back. So it's like you want to feel the maximum amount of inches on your thigh. Your thigh is getting longer and longer and longer. Good, and then start to move that knee back in space as you lift your heart forward and up. Tilt yourself into dancer pose. Good, again, with the desire or the ability to keep reaching forward and using that foot as your counterbalance. Keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching. Stay light, stay light, stay light. And let that left hand start to reach down to the floor or a block. Still holding the ankle if you can. Good. Nice. Lisa G, keep that knee pointing down though. That's the tricky part. Good. And then release, standing split. Extend that right leg all the way back to straight. Nicely done. Good. And then release it forward alongside the left, standing forward fold. Nice, you guys. Separate your feet nice and wide. Turn your toes out 45 degrees. Bend your knees, come down, squat. Good. Right hand to the inside of your right foot or right shin. So you're pushing that shoulder wide. Take the left arm up to the sky. Option here, if you want to go for the full bind, you're welcome to. So you turn that left palm to face back, reach around to find your outer right hip. And then you slide your right shoulder forward and down so that you can wrap your forearm around the front of your shin. So not underneath your thigh, but around the front of your shin. There you go. And then chest opens, you fall backwards. Right. There you go. Nice. Open chest. The vulnerable places get more open and the world lights up. Slowly release, come back to center. Straighten the legs, turn the toes forward because that's a long hold. If you're not used to being in squat forever, even if you are used to it. Good. I know. And then we got a second side twist to do. So drop back to squat if you can. Good. Left hand to the inside of the left foot, right arm to the sky. Again, widening both knees. So you don't want to fall inward with either knee, but really push that left forearm into the left shin. Then if you're going for the bind, turn the right palm to face back, bend the elbow, reach around to the outer hip. And then your left shoulder slides forward so that you can wrap the arm around the front of your shin. Good, and keep both inner thighs wide. Keep your low belly engaged so that you are dropping through your seat, long through your sacrum. Good, nice, Anne, whatever you're doing there. And then slowly release, come all the way out. Straighten the legs and bow. Nice job, you guys. Step back to downward facing dog. Heel toe your feet a little closer. Good. If you want to get real fancy, you can jump back to plank and do a vinyasa, or you can just come straight back to dog. Nice. Good. I see I excited some of you. Beautiful. Downward facing dog as you get there. Awesome, you guys. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee and kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack right hip on top of left. Good. Nice. And then come up on your left fingertips and squeeze that right wrist and left foot towards each other. So you've got to stay really stable. Option here is to start to reach the left hand up and back to try and find that right ankle. Good. Faith that it's there and that it's reachable. Good. Don't lose the rotation of your hip. If you turn your hip forward, it makes it harder for you to find your ankle. You have to stay open. Good. Nice. And then slowly release. Good job. Good. Come back to downward facing dog. Drop down to hands and knees. Good. Do a little shrugging of your shoulders. Nice. And then take your right leg up and back in line with your hip. Yep. Float that foot up off the floor, level with the floor. Walk your left arm forward. Good. Lift it up. Take your balance. Nice. Bend your right knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Reach back for the foot or the ankle. Oh, why didn't you just do that when you were in down dog? Wasn't so hard. Because it's scary. No, because it's a different moment. So how easy it is for us to connect to that flow of love is different in every moment. Sometimes it's hard. The fact is that you can be totally connected to it internally and you still can't reach that tangible point that says, I got it. Extend the leg back out, arm back out. So that's faith, right? Knowing that the foot and the hand can meet each other. And even if they aren't in this moment, you don't let go of the knowledge that they can. Drop back to hands and knees, child's pose. And yeah, I did that on purpose. Do it the hard way first. Good. Breathe into the back of your heart. And love, when we talk about it in spiritual terms, is not at all the same as when we talk about it in more emotional, psychological terms. To really being in a full openness. And that comes with feeling very vulnerable. They are one and the same. So to feel that full reflection of the moon, we also have to be vulnerable to be seen by that light. And to know that the moon is never broken, the water is never broken, even though they're reflecting each other. So even just that thought, that faith is that knowledge that you can never truly be broken. Breathe into that. Because if you can never be broken, then there's no reason not to give everything that you are to your life. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees, back to downward facing dog. That, I think, is the true gift of having a real connection to faith, is that there's never a reason to be afraid of what you can and can't do, or what will or won't happen. Left leg up and back, down dog split. Here we go. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the hip. So you got to open. Good. And then you're coming up on your right fingertips. So you're finding the balance there. And then maybe you're playing with staying really steady with your breath and reaching up to try and find that ankle. Nice, Laura, you got it. Mark, so you're reaching back with the opposite hand. There you go. You got it. One of us did it, we all did it. So Laura took it for all of you. Good, nice, Mark, you got it. Beautiful, slowly release back to downward facing dog. Nice, Joanne, awesome. Beautiful. And then drop down to hands and knees, please. Good, do a little shrug of your shoulders if you overdid the arm stuff in down dog there. And then stretch your left leg back behind you. Lift it up in line with your hip. Walk your right arm forward, take your balance. And then bend the left knee, reach back right hand for the foot or the ankle. Good, and again, it's like you're falling backwards. So that right shoulder has to almost fall back for you to be able to reach that ankle. Nice, Joanne. Just don't let that right hip push so wide to the right. Pull it in. Good, Harriet. Nice, Sarah. Good, Lisa G. Good, Lisa S. All my Lisas. And then slowly release, extend all the way back out. Beautiful. And then back to hands and knees, please, and drop back child's pose. I saw Cheryl earlier today, and she was saying something about how when I first came to the studio, she's like, oh, it's like you were a different person. You were much edgier. Some of you are like, my God, is that possible? Yeah. I was all of 22. I was full of edges, full of angry. So what happened? Learn to love more effectively. It's not like any of that went away, but the edges became something else, right? All those things that you think are bigger than that universal experience, get over yourself. We're all in that process. We put up walls and then we tear them down, and we put them up and we tear them down, and we put them up and we tear them down. And then eventually we just stop putting in the effort to put them up because we know they're going to get torn down. So accepting that place of vulnerability is also the place where you experience that universal love that makes no promises except that it is endless. It's the only promise it has is that it will never desert you and that you can never be broken. So why be angry unless it's going to do something useful? Walk your hands back in, please. Come up to a high kneeling position, hands at your hips. You can use a block between the upper thighs here if you like for camel pose. If you want a blanket underneath your knees, likewise, you can do that. Good. Yeah, so if you're using the block, again, that's to give you a very tangible squeeze of your inner thighs. Even if you don't have a block, you can still imagine that one is there and that you are hugging in. Because when you hug in those inner thighs, then you actually stabilize your hips, and it's going to give you more space to actually extend your lower back, right? So the block is useful that way. Hands to the lower back, fingers pointing down, squeeze your elbows towards each other. Good. And then as you hinge back just a little bit, press your low back into your hands. Good. So it's like you're sitting back towards your heels just a little. Good. And then lift your armpits up higher. Keep pressing your butt into your hands and really reach from the top of your hip to your armpits and drop your head back just a little bit. Awesome. And then if you want to drop your hands here to your heels, go ahead. Otherwise, stay where you are. Navel to spine. Keep pressing those thighs down. So it's like you're lengthening your legs from your hips down to your knees. Push into the floor. Beautiful. And then navel to spine as you come up, press your inner thighs back. Good. And then untuck your toes, drop your hips to your heels. Good. Forehead down to the floor. Good. Reach behind you, interlace your fingers at your low spine. Good. Hug those upper arms towards each other. Good. And then you're rolling up to the crown of your head. Lift your hips up, round your back, and stretch those arms up and over any amount. Good. It doesn't matter how far the arms go. You're just reaching the length of your arms and you're rounding your back. Nice. And then release the hips back down to your heels. Release the arms. Come back up to that high kneeling position. Good. Hands can be at the low back again, or you can take them behind the head if you choose, but start to lean back, second camel pose. So again, hugging the inner thighs. Good. Expand into your lower back. So sit back just a little bit so that you get that feeling of the thighs getting long, and then lift your chest up towards the sky. So pull through the side body. Beautiful. So sternum up towards the ceiling and ribs in, leaning back, and then let your hands float towards your heels. And again, if they don't completely touch, that's fine. Maybe just keep lifting your chest and letting the arms reach. Good. As soon as you found the pose, try not to push forward through your pelvis. Instead, lengthen through your thighs and pull your armpits up. Really nice, Hannah. Good. Find yourself all the way back up, sending your butt back, your inner thighs back as your navel comes into your spine support. And then drop your hips back to your heels, forehead to the floor. Good. Reach back, interlace the fingers again behind you or at the low back, or keep the hands on the floor if you don't love this variation. Roll up onto the crown of the head, lift your hips, roll through your spine so you're rounding like a ball and hugging the upper arms. And again, the hands can be on the floor here if the shoulder stretch in addition to this does not work for you. Good. And then release the hips back down to your heels, release the hands. Walk yourself back up. One more high kneeling position, one more camel pose. Good. Again, block between the upper thighs if you'd like. Beautiful. And then again, hands can be at the lower back, hands can be behind the head. It's also a nice option, is to keep the head and the neck very awake and the upper back very awake. So let yourself hinge back just a little bit. So again, sitting your sit bones towards your heels a little bit so your thighs stay softer, and then lifting up through the chest. Long, 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 long. Good. Nice, Sarah. And then letting the hands reach back for the heels if you'd like, or stay exactly as you are. If you've got your hands behind your head, you look like you're in a big fancy beach chair. Good. And then navel to spine, inner thighs pull back as you rise up. Beautiful. And then release the hips down to your heels, forehead to the floor. Good. Last time, coming up into hare pose, you can interlace the fingers behind your low back if you'd like, or keep the hands reaching towards your ankles. Roll up onto the crown of your head, rounding the back, lifting the hips, pushing through your shins, arms up and over if you choose. Good. And then slowly release and hang out for just a moment with your hips on your heels. Relax the hands. You can never be broken. You can feel like your walls are torn down and your life is falling apart. You can feel all of those things. But you at your core can never be broken. And if we are open to that reality, then there is so much more that we can feel and do and still give. You give yourself back to that big, uncaused cause. And the light that you are reflecting from it, or that it's reflecting through you, becomes brighter because you keep giving. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. Come to sit on your butt. Nice. Bottoms of the feet together. Let your knees drop wide, Baddha Konasana. Beautiful. And start to walk yourself forward. Yeah, nothing fancy. Baddha Konasana. There's not always a secret twist. Good. Nice, you guys. Let your back round here. After you've extended as far as you can extend, then let it round. So I want you to pull up through that low space of your belly. So again, you're expanding the space of your lower back, because forward folding can do great things to open up the lower back, and it also pulls if we're tight there. So support it by lifting through the front of your belly, front of your low belly. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Nice job. Scoot forward so you can come onto your backs. Good. Then draw the knees in towards your chest. Good. Separate the knees just a little bit wider, so almost like you're doing child's pose on your back. Good. And then you're going to reach your hands. So not a full, now we can do this. Flex your feet. So come into what feels like you're kind of doing a squat pose on your back. Yep. So the knees can go a little wider. And then reach between the legs, interlace the fingers, pointer fingers pointing straight out. So Kali Mudra. Inhale the breath. And then as you exhale, lift head, neck, and chest up. Reach the hands through the legs. Good. Nice. And pull those knees up towards your armpits as you're doing it. That's it. And then release the shoulders back down. Good. Keep the legs as they are. Inhale, exhale, lift up, and pull those knees towards the armpits and squeeze. Heels towards your butt. Good. And then release back down. Nice. And then lift up again. Exhaling, curling, squeezing those thighs in. Nice. And then release. 2 more like that, reaching up. Good. Pew, pew, through your little cowboy gun. And then release. 1 more time. Shooting bullets of love. Good. And then slowly release. Nice job. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Good. Rock from side to side. Beautiful. And then come to stillness. Good. Stretch your legs straight up towards the sky, arms straight up towards the sky. Good to have the heels stacked on top of your hips. So they've got to come a little further away from your belly than you think that they should. The armpits down to the floor. Good, so you're pulling the arms into the shoulder socket. That's it. Nice, you guys. And then just a little bit of a lean in here. If you want to place a block between the shins here, you totally could. But a little bit of letting the legs go towards the right, just a little bit, but keep your left rib cage on the floor. Good, and then back to center, please. And then let the legs go just a little bit to the left, keeping your right rib cage on the floor. Back up to center. Good, let the legs go a little bit to the right. And back to center. What's funny is that your arms should be giving you a reference of what straight ahead is if you're not letting them go completely in the direction that your legs are. Let your legs go to the left. Good, and back up to center. Deep breath in. As you exhale, reach your hands up towards your feet. Don't change your feet, just lift your hands up towards your feet. Aha, yep. And then release back down. Good, deep breath in. You can always bend the knees here if you need, and then reach straight up. Again, don't let your legs fold in. Keep your low back on the floor. And then release the shoulders back down. Nice, Emily. Good. And then exhale, reach up. Keep your low back on the floor. Again, you can bend the knees if this is a little much. And then release. Good. And then bend your knees back into that squat position, please. Good. One more time. Lift head, neck, and chest. Stretch your arms between the legs. Good. But now I want you to squeeze your legs towards your arms. So squeeze in and pull those knees up towards your armpits and scoop your low belly. Good. Now turn your palms forward, almost like you're doing crow pose. So you're pushing out through your hands. Good. And pulling the arms into the shoulders so your chest is wide, and squeeze those knees against your arms and push your arms against your knees. Good. So if they're not touching, make them touch. Good. Crow pose on your back. And then release head, neck, and chest. Nice job, knees in towards your chest. I know, nobody asked for that. Good. Place your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Good, flexing both feet. Right, what's really fun about yoga asana or yoga poses is that you can feel the engagement of a pose in 10,000 different ways, and you don't have to ever say that technically you're doing the pose, right? An arm balance doesn't have to be done only as an arm balance. And again, I feel like this is a freedom that faith gives us. It says, I don't need it to look a certain way to believe that there's a thread of goodness that's moving through my life that I can connect to. Good, and that will carry me to wherever it's going, wherever we're going. Beautiful. Release the thigh. Please take your left foot down to the floor. Keep the ankles stacked. And then let your legs drop to your left. So your right foot is going to come down to the floor. Yep. And then you're trying to take your right knee to face up towards the ceiling. And the right side of your sacrum is falling back down towards the floor. Good. So it's a hip opener, but it's also a back opening. Good. So Hannah, knee up towards the ceiling a little bit more, and right side butt cheek. So like you're trying to take your right butt cheek down to the floor. Yeah, don't change the position of the legs. You just need to keep working that action while you're there. Yeah, there you go. Nice, you guys. Take one more breath. And then slowly release, come back to center, please. Uncross the ankle and switch to the other side. So take the left ankle over the right thigh. Lift your right shin parallel to the floor, reach through to hold. So you hug in. Good. And whatever you think is impossible, remember that the whole moon can be reflected in an inch, a puddle of water an inch wide. So the same energy that is moving through, the bigness of everything is moving through you. You haven't been abandoned. You will never be forgotten. You cannot be broken. It's the teachings of faith. So we light candles to remind ourselves, we light lamps, we celebrate light to remind ourselves that we're not forgotten. But how do we feed that light? Don't forget yourself. Don't forget the rest of the world. Keep giving that light out, and it will return to you 10,000 times bigger. Good. Release that foot down to the floor, please. Keep the ankle stacked. Let your legs fall to the right. So your left foot is going to come down flat to the floor. Knee presses up towards the ceiling, and left butt cheek, left low back is softening towards the floor. It might not get there. Doing all those things at once means that something is not going to be where I described. That's okay. Move the knee up towards the ceiling and let the lower back start to expand. It'll find its way there. Good. You light up the world with the way that you give. Not the tangible physical things that you give, but the emotional, spiritual way that you give love. And the more you are in that open, vulnerable place to be seen and to see others in that very deep human spirit way, soul to soul, then that's what comes back to you. It might not be physical abundance in every moment, but it's the energy that says, I will be carried. And that's what sustains me in my life. So you keep giving, even when you think you have nothing to give. Only an inch of water reflects the whole moon. Come back to center, please. Good. Unwind the legs, hug the knees in towards the chest. Bottoms of the feet together, let your knees go wide, heels in towards your groin. So a Baddha Konasana, again, where you can squeeze the knees towards each other just a little bit and really focus on pressing your low back down to the floor. Good, so feet are lifted, Susan. Yeah. Good. And then bring the knees back together, please. Spinal twist of your choice. So if you would like to drop both knees to the right, you're welcome to do that. If you want to extend the right leg and bring the left knee over to the right, you can do that. If you want to wrap the left thigh on top of the right, you can do that. So Harriet, just switch the wrap of your legs since that's the direction you're going. Spinal twist. Good. Slowly come back to center. Please take your twist the other way. It doesn't have to be the same twist on both sides. If you don't want to, you can change it. And then come back to center, please. Last pose, plant your feet hip width, arms alongside you, lift up into bridge pose, either with the elbows bent or the arms straight. Like the rising moon. Whole body engaged. Good. And then as you release everything. So release your cares, release your worries, release your doubts, release your pains, your sorrow. And then start to find yourself moving into Shavasana in a place where you are just emptying of all of that. So that Shavasana becomes a place where you are open and ready to simply receive. Nothing standing in the way, just still water reflecting. You can even imagine the moon on water if you'd like. Or a flame that your inner eye is staring at. Or just a radiance that fills you from the inside and extends into infinity. It's all true. It's all the same. Enlightenment does not divide you, just as the moon does not break the water. You cannot hinder enlightenment, just as a drop of water does not hinder the moon in the sky. You can never be broken. Bring your awareness back to your breath. The body begin to stretch and move, in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been serving you well. I remember when you were a kid and we used to say that thing, spitefully at each other, I'm rubber and you're glue, and whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you. You remember that? Yeah. So how about instead that whatever comes your way, you absorb it back into love and you spit that back out? So that what you are reflecting every moment of your life is that acknowledgement that you are never broken by anything that is said or done. So you keep giving that, and you keep giving that generously and in that way, even though it's a vulnerable place to be, you keep doing it, and it brightens the world, because as that rubber place that keeps extending that love, it'll start to stick to more people, to more things, to more places, to more moments. So this is what we do. Faith is we have no idea where we're going, but we know that the moon is the moon and that it cannot be broken. And we're reflecting that, therefore we cannot be broken. So there's no reason to be scared. There's no reason to hang on to all the things that you think are somehow big enough to break the moon. They can't. And if you know that, you live your life fully, and whatever comes, comes, and whatever goes, goes. And you keep giving your love, and it comes back to you 10,000-fold. So light your candles, but light that light that's inside of you and keep feeding it by giving it. So we say, namaste, the light in me acknowledges and honors the light in you. So when you say it from today moving forward, mean it. Don't just say it because it sounds good. Deep breath in for the sound of Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Here's your moment. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. Just real quick, in case you're interested, we are doing this thing. We're calling it Secret Santa, where Natural Yoga is going to be gifting class cards to individuals in our community who are financially struggling, so that those who need to practice are still able to practice. So if you know someone that we should be considering for that, let us know, let me know, let Cheryl know. If there's someone who you yourself, you want to participate in this and Secret Santa gift something to someone, we're also happy to facilitate that for you as well, either anonymously or if you have someone in particular in mind. So just let us know. That's a thing that we're doing. So if you want to participate in that,